Hi everyone, welcome back to my Coffee and Celebrity channel. So I appreciate that it's been a minute. Well, actually it's been quite a few minutes since I have done a video on this channel. I had a little bit of a kind of, I don't know what to do with this channel, whether to keep it, whether to not keep it. So I have decided I'm going to keep it. Mainly because it's also a secondary channel, so if anything ever happens to my other channel, then I've got this one that people can go across to. But this one is going to be, in a sense, in the same realm as what I'm doing on my TNT channel, except this one is going to be about all celebrities, so to speak, past, present, etc. Whereas that other channel is about necessarily the royal family and what is kind of going on there, and mainly about Harry and Meghan. So if you are sick and tired, which believe you me, I am, sick and tired of Harry and Meghan, then this could be a light relief for you in understanding the behavioural psychology behind why celebrities are doing what they're doing or saying what they're saying. And I'm going to be doing that as well. So in this one, I'm going to talk about something that came up recently in regards to Dawn French doing a podcast with somebody and surrounding the JK Rowling statement that was made and the backlash that's come from that. So I'm sure most of you know by now that JK Rowling put out a tweet. I'm going to put that up here so you can see it. And from that came this huge backlash, and the threats of being cancelled. She had the most horrendous bullying, doxing. She was taken off from certain aspects of Harry Potter, which I find absolutely incredulous, given that she's the one behind Harry Potter. Harry Potter stars even spoke out against her. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, because Dawn French spoke recently in a podcast where she, in a way, said that she didn't understand the backlash that came from JK Rowling's tweet. And so it's almost like she said that, you know, she said to young people, you know, I want to understand, what is it around this statement that has created everybody to be so angry? Now, the person she was in the podcast with, and she didn't name this person, but basically they said to her, well, you need to keep up. It is not for us or anyone else to tell you how, you know, what other people feel or how we feel. You just need to keep up with the times. And she stated that she felt quite angry about that, because it's kind of like, well, but if I genuinely don't know, then in a way what you're doing is you're shutting me down. And that's exactly what this person was attempting to do. Now, I'm not saying that I say she, I'm assuming it's a she, but this person, I'm not saying they intended on that, but in a way that's exactly what you do. To ask questions, to understand, is knowledge. There is nothing wrong with, and I was told, and I think that's been put out there, that there is never a wrong question to ask. Because if you don't understand, then how are you going to understand if the person doesn't tell you? You know, there are certain things, even in my job as a psychotherapist, I have to ask my clients because I have to understand them. It is not a case of one size fits all. How I work with one client doesn't work with another, because they're different people. So for me, what I form an understanding of who they are as a person, and then I can then work with them effectively. Now, imagine if I was asking them simple questions about themselves, trying to understand because I'm curious about their background, and that person went, well, I'm not telling you, you should know. Because that's in a way what we're kind of as a society being told. Don't ask questions, be quiet because you should know. Or if it's not that, it's no, your opinion is different, I don't like that, so be quiet. And that's very dangerous, in my opinion, to do that, because in a sense what you're doing is you're literally silencing everybody about asking and having an opinion about something. My opinion is mine. It may differ from yours. It may differ from the next person down the street, but it's still mine. Now, is that right? Yes, because it's mine. Now, where it becomes a problem is when other people have different opinions and they believe their opinion is right. There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with believing an opinion is right. But then we are narrowing down how we think and feel because we're not allowing other knowledge to come in. You know, when I speak to other therapists, when I go to supervision and I speak to my therapist in a sense, it would be very narrow-minded of me to kind of go, right, well, this is what happened in a session and I had a reaction to that and I don't know why. And then so I go to my supervision and my supervision says, well, you should know why. It's like, but I don't. Well, you should. So I'm not going to discuss that with you because you should know why. And then in the same breath, I could say the same thing to a client. A client comes to me, it's like, I'm having these reactions, I'm having these thoughts, I don't know why. And then I go, well, you should know why. So we're not discussing it, you should know. Where do you go with that? There's nowhere to go. Because a lot of the time when you have your own frame of reference, it's subjective. It is subjective to your experiences, your past, what has happened, all of that. Now, in the moment, it is right because it's how you're feeling and there's nothing wrong with that. However, it could also be wrong in a sense of how you're viewing something. You need a better understanding of it. So as much as how you're feeling is right at the time, it might be that it needs exploring more because actually there's more to unpack, more to look at. So in a way, what Dawn was saying here is, I don't understand and I want to understand, so please help me understand. And then this other person goes, well, no, we're not. Well, then that's shutting a door on that because then you've got nowhere to go with it. And also, that is also dangerous because to me, there is power in knowledge. There is nothing worse than somebody thinking they know something, but they don't. And in a way, pretending. Because that's how you would get caught out in things. Because you don't really know. What better ways to understand somebody's perspective? If I was in a situation with somebody, they were reacting to something, I want to know why. I want to know what is going on for them to react that way. But what I've also seen is, especially online, is that actually some of the people that are arguing this case against JK Rowling, if you like, they don't even know. So it's almost like they've just jumped on this bandwagon because they see as a collective, oh, this must be the right thing to do. But then you become a sheep, you're following. You're not actually utilizing your own brain that you were born with and actually asking yourself, actually, do I believe this? Is this right for me? It might be right for the other person, but actually, is it right for me to follow this way of thinking? And a lot of them don't. And you know this because when you say to them, okay, why do you feel so angry? Why? They either don't respond with anything that's intelligent, in my opinion, or anything that comes across as, okay, no, I can get behind that and I can understand that. Or they become abusive, which in a way tells you everything you need to know. So where do we go from there? You know, if we're being censored and in a way shut off from communicating and understanding knowledge, which is what we're seeing is almost like the eradication of free speech or freedom of expression, then where do we go from there? You know, I don't know. I mean, I, for one, will never stop giving my opinion to something. However, I also appreciate the opinions of others. You know, we can. I mean, I was brought up in the era of you can have a very heated debate with somebody if you don't agree with them. And it might just end up that you just don't agree. You know, it's as simple as that. Well, I just don't agree with you. But that's okay. You know what? Let's shake hands and move on. I just don't agree with you. And that's okay. That's what makes the world go round. But what we're seeing now is almost like a bullying into... no, you've got to agree with me. And if you don't, then you're going to be bullied. You're going to be doxed. And for those of you who don't know what doxing is, it means it's almost like a very extreme case of bullying where people go after your livelihood. They go after your family, your friends, anything that's connected to you. They literally try to tear you apart in a sense, all because you don't agree with the way they think. And we're seeing this on a small level and we're seeing this on a global level. And that is where I feel as a society, we're going very, very wrong. And it's like, so we have to ask, what are you afraid of? Why are people so afraid of differing opinions that they have to, I mean, and there are extreme cases of what can happen to somebody if you don't agree with somebody. Why are people, some people, because I don't include myself in that, I'm not afraid of opinions. And mainly because I don't know, I use my brain enough to understand that just because somebody doesn't agree with me doesn't change my opinion. I mean, and it might, and that's okay too. You know, if I've got an opinion about something and then I hear a valid perspective from somebody, then I can kind of look at that and go, you know what, I didn't actually think of it that way, and that makes a lot of sense. And thank you. And that's how we grow. It feels to me that there's this collective, like we're in some kind of strange social experiment of almost isolating us from everyone and everything. You know, if we're constantly attacking, like online, if we're constantly attacking people for their opinions, and you know, it ends up where people feel, well, what's the point? What's the point of giving my opinion? And then not only that, you have people that are high profile. And I understand that being a YouTuber, because I'm starting to see it even on YouTube. And there is, and I will honestly say, there's an element of myself that has a worry, in a sense of, what if I say the wrong thing that gets my channel shut down? Doesn't stop me, but I think it. So I imagine then that there are people out there, high profile people, celebrities, journalists, etc., that would potentially feel the same way. So in a way, we're being pushed into, and a bit like what Dawn was saying in her piece, was that we're being almost forced into being cowards because we're scared. We're scared of our livelihoods being taken away from us for having a different opinion from the powers that be or whoever. And on a smaller scale, we see it because we see people, families turn against families for having different opinions. We lose friends over having different opinions. And if you are somebody that is terrified of rejection, terrified of losing something, you will end up doing the opposite because you're scared of that. You know, am I scared of losing my YouTube channel? No, I'm not scared of it. I don't want it, or I don't want it to happen because I enjoy what I do, but it's not going to stop me from doing my job. You know, I have my job. But I can understand for people who their sole job is YouTube, that they have nothing else outside of that, that can become terrifying because we have bills to pay. So you're going to conform to what people want. And is that, in a sense, what they bank on, these people that are attempting to do that? And like I say, and we see this on a smaller scale when you have friends that bully other friends into doing what they want, or relationships even. You know, you're terrified of losing your partner, so you'll conform and do what they want because you don't want to lose them. And that's scary. So from a smaller scale to a large scale, we see it happening all the time. But what I am noticing more and more, and this is why I think it was very, very good that JK Rowling has basically stood up and said, you know what, do your worst. I am who I am. I stand by what I've said. Do your worst. But has it become a place where, you know, we're now seeing that people, which we never thought would happen, now it's becoming against the law to have an opinion about certain things. And you know, is there the risk of that now? And where does it end? You know, do we all stand up and say enough's enough? Because there's more of us than them, let's be honest. If we all stood up. But to do that, it's okay for people that are multimillionaires to do it because in a way they can afford to. But for the rest of us who are not, and we have responsibilities and we don't have that luxury, it's easier said than done, isn't it? So I think, you know, for me personally, all I can do is do it on the smaller scale that I stand up for what matters, but I try and be sensible in other areas. But then maybe that's part of the problem too. You know, if we're all doing that, then it's like a slow drip into slowly changing everybody. I don't know. But let me know your thoughts and opinions. What do you think? Do you agree with JK Rowling? Are you someone that agrees with what she said and how she stood up in regards to that? Do you agree with what Dawn is saying about how, you know, are we all being, in a sense, created to, in a way, act like cowards because we're terrified of speaking out for fear of cancellation? Do you feel cancel culture is very, very wrong? Anything. What are your thoughts and opinions on that? I'd be very interested to read them. So... and if this is the way you would want this channel to go, if you're happy with me talking about other things, so you know, if you've come across from TNT, maybe, like I say, you're fed up with talking about Harry and Meghan, are there other celebrities that you would like me to look into that doesn't, in a sense, create too much research, so I'm able to do like quick videos on those and keep this channel growing? So let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments, because I'm very interested. And then when I have the time and space, I will also do the more deeper ones on like the second part of Marilyn Monroe and other people as well. So yeah, your thoughts and comments I'll be very interested in. So if you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and you would like to do so, please do, because it does help the algorithm. If you haven't seen my other channel, which is TNT, the link will be in the description box below. But it'll also be, if you go to the end of this video, you will see two circles. One will be to TNT and one will be to Tea and Therapy, which is my other channel, where if you want tips on mental health, life coaching, narcissism, all of those things, that is the channel for you. So in some ways, I'm hoping that the 3 channels that I'm doing, they are helpful in some ways. So yeah. So in the meantime, I hope that you have a great rest of the week, and I will see you hopefully next week in a new video. So as always, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.